Hi, and welcome to episode 14 of Anniversary Edition. Today we're going to talk about The Wizard of Oz, which celebrates its 80th anniversary this year. So as always, we're going to spoil this film, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, but I'm not really sure there's anybody that hasn't seen it.
I mean, it's 80 years old.
It's 80 years old, yeah. It's probably been watched by quite a few people.
I actually read a thing that they think it is the most watched film of all time.
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, just because of
surprise me.
all of the reissues and all of the home entertainment stuff and TV.
Been on TV
shows.
a million times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably
so as we
actually
can
a
hear,
million
there's other people in the room, obviously. So I'm here today with...
Who are you, though?
Oh, I'm Sophie.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Tom. Hello.
And hi, I'm Adam.
Okay, so a little intro into the movie. So obviously, like we say, it's 80th anniversary this year. So it was a 1939 American musical film produced by MGM. A little intro to the story. So we meet Dorothy Gale, who's been caught up in a storm and during a twister gets a knock on her head. She passes out, and then upon waking, Dorothy and her dog Toto find themselves in a fantastical world with witches, wizards and magic. And Dorothy follows the yellow brick road to the Emerald City, meeting new friends along the way, or old friends, depending on how you look at it, to ask the Wizard of Oz to help her get back home to Kansas. So when did you guys first see this film?
I would have first seen it when I was about 5 or 6, I think.
Okay.
Probably taped off TV one Christmas, that kind of deal. Again, one of those movies that like your parents like, oh, you should watch this. And I'm pretty sure my grandmother had the VHS copy of it.
Oh, okay.
Which I think would have been like 89 or something like that. It came out on VHS. Or, so I think that's, I definitely watched it a fair few times as a kid.
Okay. Adam, how about you?
Yeah, I watched it as a child. I'm not sure what age I was, because who remembers what age they were when they first watched The Wizard of Oz, right?
I mean, no one.
You get bullied into watching it by overbearing adults who say you really should watch The Wizard of Oz. It's the very best thing ever. And so you do.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, I watched it when I was a child. Again, I have no idea how old I would have been, probably around 5 or 6, something like that. And yeah, subsequently, probably every year after. Around.
Every year?
I mean, probably. When it was on TV, if it was like Christmas or
Every
family
single
kind of
year?
times. I mean, I can't guarantee it.
You've watched it 49 times.
Wow, that hurt. I reckon probably, yeah. Every year, every 2 years. Yeah.
I probably would have seen it. I probably would have watched it once a year until my early. Well,
Oh, yeah, up
like
until
till about
about
11 or 12,
Wow.
maybe.
Yeah, up until about 11
Not
or 12.
necessarily-
Big fans in the room.
Well, no, I don't know if it was that or if it was just something to watch.
Yeah.
I don't,
Because it was always on, I recall,
Yeah.
around kind of bank holidays and Christmas and,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
I don't know how many times I would have actively thought I'm going to put this on and watch it.
Yeah, sure.
As
Yeah.
to like, oh, it's on, and I'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I mean,
end
I'm
up watching
talking
I
up
just
until
won't
about
change the channel.
like the age of
Well,
11, 12.
There were 4 channels,
Yeah.
so like there wasn't
Slim
really
pickings.
It definitely beats Songs of Praise.
exactly. Yeah, so you're gonna watch it over
Heathen.
stuff like all the news. You
Yeah.
know, when you're 8 or 9 or whatever it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That was the same.
I think actually I probably watched the sequel almost as
Oh,
much.
okay. Oh, that is...
Return to Oz.
The Return to Oz.
When
That's a weird film.
That is really freaky.
When I was a toddler, was it me? It might have been my brother. Had a bit of a speech impediment, and he used to call it Tanta Wars.
You used to call the film...
Really?
Return to Oz, Tanta Wars.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. That's
Which made me think, what's this Star Wars sequel? Like?
Yeah. Well, that was released in '85 by Disney, so we can do that next year because I
Oh,
think
there
that's
we go.
definitely worth talking about.
Oh, God.
It's
Yeah.
a Disney film.
It's a Disney film.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very strange
Yeah.
film. Okay, so generally, as a kind of an overview,
Uh-huh.
did you like it? I'm gonna start with Adam because I think this might be interesting.
Might be interesting. What are you talking about?
I
Did
don't know,
I like
don't know.
The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
No. I didn't like The Wizard of Oz at all. I'm unapologetic about it, despite the fact that saying that you don't like The Wizard of Oz is a lot of people kind of react to it like it's a hate crime.
Yeah.
But I don't like The Wizard of Oz.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little bit? Is there like literally nothing you like about it?
I think the first act is serviceable.
Okay.
So what, when they're in Kansas?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's serviceable as sort of a kid's thing. But anything from that point on is moot.
Okay.
Any story that's a dream sequence, and at the end she woke up,
Okay.
shouldn't exist.
You're not a fan of that?
It's, you know, when you're 8 years old and you start doing creative writing in school, and the first thing your teacher tells you is, if you write and then they woke up,
Yeah.
I'm failing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're 8 years old, you get told that in school.
But that,
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably looking at something that would have been written that would have started that trope.
Yeah. I was going to say, does it
As
predate
opposed
that?
as opposed to being derivative of it.
Maybe in film.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe in film, but
the book was written 40 years before this film
Yeah.
was made.
yeah, but I mean,
It was written in
it's
like
old.
1899.
people
Yeah.
were writing Gothic literature, and then they woke up and the Phantom was no more,
Right.
like in the 18th century.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think The Wizard of Oz is lazy, simplistic writing. I think,
Have you read the book?
no?
No, I've not read the book.
Why would I
either.
read the book?
Have you?
I have read the book. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've
Okay.
read one of the books because there were many books,
Okay.
and I think I've read the one that this is based on.
Yeah. On a certain level, I have to concede, yes, this is a film for children,
Okay.
and as a result, it is a moot point whether it's intellectually challenging for me. It doesn't matter because it's for kids,
Okay. Yeah.
or it's a family film. But you know, as an adult watching it, it's so weird.
Okay.
It's so
is.
odd, past the point
Yeah.
of like this is entertaining weird. It's like Munchkinland is offensive. There are a lot of poppies in this film.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like how oped up. Can I say that?
I don't
How
know.
doped up is Dorothy at any point?
You know that poppy scene ends with it snowing.
That's asbestos.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You could see
Pure
that's
asbestos.
You can see that's asbestos.
And it was after people knew that it was bad
Yeah, it's
for
bad.
you. And I'm just like, wow. Like there was stuff they did on this movie. They're just like, we don't really
At some
care.
point, I'm going to go back in time, and I'm going to try and stop this movie from being made by trying to sprinkle asbestos over the lead star during filming, and it's not going to work out.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this.
Okay. As an overview.
Yeah.
not
Sorry,
bad.
the overview. I'm not going to go much further
Okay.
into it at this point. Structure, people.
Okay, Tom. How about you?
I'm kind of indifferent about it to an extent.
Okay.
Like, I remember watching it as a kid. Mm-hmm. I remember, like, being scared by the witch. I remember, it just being one of those sort of movies. And it was just kind of like Adam said, a simple children's story. It's kind of like a Three Little Pigs or a...
Yeah, it's on
it's
that
almost
level,
like a fairy tale kind of thing. Although watching it now, I think it's way more fascinating from a technical point of view, and like all of the stuff we're talking about with the trivia, and I think it's fascinating as almost like a curio,
Okay.
and its place in film history and what it was designed to do by the studio and what they made it for.
Interesting. Okay.
Because essentially, it came out. Basically, Disney made Snow White, and MGM were like, we need to
Do something.
do something to rally against that. We need to do something that's gonna have the same impact.
Yeah.
And they decided rather than go via animation, they would go full on color, Technicolor, for a live action movie. So it was kind of like you say, it was designed to get kids into cinemas,
Yeah.
and to the point where they got a law repealed in Canada to allow children under 16 to attend the cinema on their own, which Disney
Gosh.
failed to do for Snow White.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
it
interesting.
was a really kind of big push because they suddenly, Disney suddenly said there's a massive audience here that we can take advantage of. So they were trying to cash in on that.
Oh. Okay, so you're kind of indifferent, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I think it would be a film that I would watch with my daughter.
Yeah, I was going to say, has she seen it?
No, I mean she's 2.
She's too little, right?
Yeah, she's
When would you let her watch it?
probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Same sort of time that I would.
Mm-hmm.
I would have seen it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because she started getting engaged by fairy tales and watching
Okay.
little animated versions of them, like the Three Little Pigs and the Gingerbread Man.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like the no holds barred versions, where like each pig gets eaten in succession rather than
Yeah.
running to the next house, or like and the wolf is quite scary,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be watching it and she'll be like, oh, I'm scared, and
Yeah.
and I outright asked her, I said, oh, are you scared? She said, yeah, I'm really scared. And I said, do you like being scared? And she was like, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's really interesting.
So-
My niece is the same.
Yeah,
with
so-
being scared.
That's the thing. It's kind of like you look at movies like this and you think, oh no, that's going to be too scary. But you kind of need it to be slightly scary.
Yeah.
So there's a bit
Yeah.
of a fine line of finding that moment of when it's going to be just the perfect amount of
Yeah.
scary. So yeah.
I mean, so like I said, I watched this film when I was really little, but I'm very much from like a musical theatre kind of background, and I mean, this film is just such a classic because it was a show. You've got Wicked has kind of stemmed from it. The Wiz. That's 3 musicals that have all been inspired because of this one film.
Yeah.
And I think watching it again, I found it really hard to kind of disengage from how I feel about all of that,
Right,
and
the
how much
legacy
I
of
love
it.
all of that. Yeah, so I kind of, because I was very lucky and I got to be in this show only with amateurs in Bristol, but
You're a star.
I have. Oh my gosh, give me the spotlight. But it's hard because like I know all the words to the songs because
Right.
I was in it. So kind of as soon as I put this on, and she gets to Oz, I just was in sort of nostalgic
Yeah.
being on stage mode, and
Yeah.
I found that really difficult to switch that off. And I think that's probably for me why, if you said to me, "Oh, how do you feel about an overview of the film?" Oh, I love it, and
Yeah.
it's because I can't separate all of that feeling that I have towards it. Yes, there are issues, obviously, but I liked it. I think for a family fantastical kind of film to watch, it's kind of a spectacle, and it's when she opens the door, it's that wow,
Well, that's what they were going for.
yeah, exactly, and it does what it says on the tin. It does that.
To audiences in 1939, that style of colour.
That was cool.
Yeah.
There'd been colour movies before, but not in the same way. And
Yeah.
that's what MGM were banking on, was this Technicolor process, and
Yeah,
like it having a real, because it's exceptionally vibrant.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I remember when I watched it as a child. So Adam, I'm going to come back to you.
Oh, hi.
Do you have a favourite moment? Can you fathom something together that you liked?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be able to find something I like about most movies. I think I'd be hard-pressed to find a film that doesn't have a part where I'm like, well, okay, that was good. Specifically, what we were just talking about, when she opens the door,
Yeah.
the whole tornado scene, really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So
As a production standpoint for an 80-year-old film,
yeah,
it's really delivered, and it's certainly the spectacle that MGM wanted it to be.
Yeah.
it's quite impressive that the only shot that was done on a location and of something natural are the clouds behind the title.
That's it.
That's
in
it.
The whole film.
In the whole
Everything
film,
else is
everything
done
else is special
studio.
effects in a studio, including the twister.
And yeah, for a film that's 80 years
Yeah.
old, sorry, that is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Did
quite.
they
a-
use, like-
It's gobsmacked.
They used like
accomplishment.
tights as
Yes.
a twister.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were like muslin.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a muslin. It was like 30 foot though, so it was like a big stocking. They called it. So it was more like a windsock on a
Yeah.
airfield.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But made of muslin, and they spun it round.
I don't think you can take away from the achievement of The Wizard of Oz by criticising the story of The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Or the
No.
acting of The Wizard of Oz. or the makeup of the Wizard of Oz. But the technical achievement is there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's gobsmacking. I was trying to figure out. So I looked into the process of how they did the colour, and it was a process that I've heard of before, but never really understood. And I've tried to figure out how it all works, and it's so complicated.
What's it called?
It's called it's Technicolor, but it's called the 3-strip process.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So basically,
You can do that automatically in a lot of editing programs at the moment.
well, kind of. That's turning that sort of concept into an effect.
Yeah.
But the way it works with an actual film camera. So all of this film was technically shot in black and white.
Okay.
Most or your average film camera has a roll of film in it, and it goes through the mechanism, shutter opens, gets exposed to light through the lens, etc. It's kind of the basic concept of all film cameras ever.
Yeah.
But this one had a lens, shutter, aperture, all that kind of stuff, which is all fairly standard. Then behind that, there was a prism that split the light coming into it. And there were 3 strips of film in the camera. There was one that was directly behind the lens, and in front of that there was a green filter.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
And
see where
then
you're
the
going.
prism sent the light off at 90 degrees through a magenta filter, and then behind that were 2 strips of film sandwiched together. One of those strips of film was only sensitive to blue light, and one was only sensitive to red light. They filmed all of the shots, essentially, processed those, so you end up with 3 negatives of varying contrasts
Yeah.
based on whatever colours were filtered
Okay.
through it.
Yep.
They then create what's called a receiver strip, which is a positive version of the film. So it kind of be like your print that you send off, but it's kind of almost at like 50% opacity. So
Okay.
it looks really washed out, and it's not much there really.
Yeah.
And it's also got the soundtrack running down the side of it.
Right. Okay.
Then they duplicate those negatives, the 3 negatives, onto special film, and then they dye them, and they dye the red sensitive film cyan, they dye the green sensitive film magenta, and then they dye the blue sensitive film yellow. Then they take each one of those, and one by one they press them under high pressure against the receiver strip, and the dye transfers,
Wow.
and that you end up with a colour image at the end of it.
I thought I knew where you were going with that, where you were just going to like record some red and some blue and some yellow and stick them
Exactly,
together,
which is
kinda
how
like
video works.
And how original like old colour printers
Exactly, yeah,
worked when
yeah.
they would dot
Yeah,
matrix.
Yeah. And so for any single shot in that movie, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strips of film. No,
That's mad.
7 strips of
Yeah.
film
That's-
at a minimum.
That's incredible.
And then you're making prints from that.
Is this just to achieve that level of colour?
No, that's just to achieve colour.
What? No, this is-
Essentially, there were 2 methods. There was Technicolor, and there was another one,
if
which
you went
was
back
done
in
by a
time-
rival
if
studio.
you went back in time
Yeah.
and decided to set up your own film company,
All right.
you could figure out colour pretty quickly.
No, it's because they didn't know the chemistry to make an emulsion that on a film strip that would capture colour correctly. And what it meant was that, bizarrely, because you're separating out your colours and your contrast, all of these films that were shot this way have a very distinctive look, which means they're really high saturation in the
Yeah.
colour, they're really vivid, and they're very high contrast, so they look really crisp. So Wizard of Oz was on, Gone with the Wind,
Okay.
Rear Window. There was a whole bunch of them that were done this way.
Gosh.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it
that
was
is-
used for quite a while, and it was
Yeah.
such a,
Yeah.
such a crazy
So
process.
long-winded.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Tom, do you have like a favourite kind of moment in this film?
I do find myself kind of marvelling at what are essentially the effect shots,
Yeah.
and realising that almost everything is an effect shot when you given that process that you go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
All of the stuff in Kansas that's done using models and forced perspective and rear
Yeah.
projection, that looks great.
Yeah.
I watched an HD version of this, and it holds together better than a lot of films
Yeah.
from the
Later.
60s, 70s, 80s, just because of the way the process was done, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like the plot and like the story of it, I think the standout moments for me are obviously when Dorothy first lands in Oz.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tornado sequence. And I really like the scene where the 5 of them, if you're counting Toto as well, rock up and meet the wizard for the first time.
Okay.
And they're just in that chamber.
Yeah.
And there's like smoke effects and these massive fireballs going off, and there's a projected face on the wall.
Yeah.
And and again, it's part of me just thinking they just did that for real. Like that was actually happening in that room.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing those actors couldn't see.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that I really liked, because I think, I know Adam's pretty down on the performances, but I think that helps those actors give those performances that they give, which are very kind of big and stagey and
Yeah, they are. They're
kind
really
of
stagey.
Yeah, I quite like also just the second Oz, the whole "don't look at the man behind
Yes,
don't pay
exactly.
attention to the man behind the curtain."
Yeah,
That's good. It's cheeky. I like
Yeah,
it.
that's often voted one of the best lines in cinema, just because it's such a it's a great line.
Yeah.
It is. I think
Sophie?
similarly for me, it's probably when kind of Dorothy lands in Oz. I just think because of the contrast, and I can't. I suppose I can't separate out remembering that feeling of like, oh my goodness, look how incredible all the colour is, because you've been watching everything in Kansas.
Yes.
And the contrast between the two is so extreme.
Yeah.
I like some of the comedy, like that particularly. You know, when he's like, no, don't look, just ignore that guy over there. That's the like I said, I think it's probably when she first lands in Oz for me. Do you have a favourite character? Tom, I'm going to come to you for this first.
That's only one correct answer.
I was trying to think about who my favourite was, and I think as a kid I always liked the Scarecrow most.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I think I always liked
He's
him.
kind of like the leader of the idiots, isn't he? He's like
kind of, yeah.
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 He because he has no brain. He's the one that formulates the plans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what I always liked about
Also, not invulnerable. That's useful. He
yeah,
gets torn apart by flying monkeys.
He does,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't care.
But no, I think what I kind of liked about it was not just him, but the performance that was given as well. Because like the guy's movement is really, really good. Like
the
way
physicality
the
is
physicality of
great.
it is really good, and I like that. And I think that the guy playing the Tin Man also has that kind of thing, but he's utilising the restrictions of that suit.
You can't express it as much because obviously you have to restrain your movement.
And it's difficult to see how much of that is him doing it as opposed to the suit doing it for him.
Absolutely.
Whereas with Scarecrow, you know, the way he kind of makes himself floppy, or he kind of just, and he sort of pratfalls and stuff like that. I remember liking that as a kid.
Yeah, it was that like slapstick kind of
exactly,
just
which
falling over the fence
which I always liked, like Buster Keaton sort of stuff anyway. So I like them. I think those three are I think they're great, and I remember being scared by, is it Margaret Hamilton? Is that her name? Yeah. Margaret Hamilton as the witch.
The witch. Mm-hmm.
And you kind of watch it now thinking it's so hammy and so kind of like
just stereotypically.
Exactly. And then you kind of have to go like, well, that's,
I'm evil.
Exactly, yeah. But as a kid,
it
absolutely
worked.
scared me. It was absolutely exactly right for what it should be. And that you think of a wicked witch, that's what you think of.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So in a certain way, I kind of agree with Adam about the performances, but I also kind of totally disagree as well, because I kind of feel like I can,
really
looking at them, from a modern standpoint, there's not much subtlety of performance. And
I kind of bunched the three of them together, which is unfair, but
the Tin Man doesn't do a lot.
Yeah, I think for me, again, it's so hard because I have so many memories of performances with people on stage.
Right, yeah.
So it's really difficult. But I mean, when I was typing up sort of my notes and stuff, I wrote the Lion. I like the kind of his entrance and how he's
a great scene.
It's a great scene, yeah. And he's he's putting on this show of being so terrifying, and then he's just like put him up, and then the dog, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, why did that dog do that to me?" And it's just, it's great. I think you instantly love him, like, and as a child as well. I think you naturally kind of, I don't know, you just sort of want to hang out with this cute lion. Like, and
I think the lion teaches you things as a kid. The lion is a lesson more than a lot of other characters. Not all other characters. Wizard of Oz is a lesson. Yeah. The lion is a lesson as well.
It's a more obvious lesson, I think, in the lion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of his entrance, and it's so goes against how he actually feels.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that's what I wrote, is that his courage was always there. And, you know, it's I just think he's great.
Yeah, I do wonder if the reason the Tin Man, like, you don't get so much from him is because the actor was a replacement for the guy they nearly killed.
Yeah.
Like, so I wonder if, like, did he not have as much? I assume
maybe he didn't have as much prep time,
if any, because they shot like 2 weeks worth with the other guy. In fact, I think they shot 2 weeks with a different director and then reshot and
filming time with him. Maybe they had stories with him. Maybe he had more
I don't know screen time if it's less because of that. I'm not sure.
Because I was looking, this has got like 5 different directors credited and like 20 writers, and it's crazy.
Yeah, so there were so many like replacements and switching in and out of people. Yeah. Adam, I'm going to come to you first. Hi. What's odd about this movie?
What's odd about The Wizard of Oz? All right, okay. So, for one of the most celebrated musicals of all time, most of the songs suck and are not memorable.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it did win best song.
Best song?
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
Best original song.
2 songs that will stand the test of time.
Which are? Come on, sing to us.
Dorothy's first song, which is in Kansas.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
And We're Off to See the Wizard.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Every other song will not stand the test of time.
Okay.
Even though Cowardly Lion's song towards the end is an absolute
on
bop.
point. Yeah.
So there's that.
Okay.
I think it's, not, the songs aren't all well written. Munchkin Land is very odd, very disturbing.
Yeah.
From a modern perspective, and honestly, it feels like, even putting myself back 80 years, I can't imagine watching that and thinking, that's a weird, scary place. Oz in general is an...
I mean, Oz in general, is strange.
A heroin, cooker's paradise.
I'm trying to remember, because in the book, they make more of the fact that the witches are from the 4 points of the compass, and Dorothy actually goes to lots of different places.
Right.
Yeah, her journey is much more extensive, isn't it?
Yeah, much more extensive. And I think she meets other characters, and she doesn't have any ruby slippers for a start. They're silver in the book, I think. They're only ruby in the film because they wanted to show off the colour.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so I think, they've kind of like taken some of that element out of it. So you do meet the witch from the south and the witch from the north.
Yeah,
okay.
And I think, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
there's nothing wrong with that. Her journey is pretty much a straight line. Dorothy faces next to no bumps in her road. She can do whatever she wants at any point. And any Munchkin's like, oh, well, why didn't you say so? and let her in anywhere. She never really has to think her way out of a situation. She kills 2 people by accident.
I found a great synopsis that someone wrote. Yeah, it's by a guy called Rick Polito, and his like synopsis for the movie was: transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and teams up with 3 strangers to kill again.
Yeah,
that's inspired.
That's amazing.
100% the plot.
Yeah,
everyone is very happy about the fact she kills people, and she's very happy about the fact she kills people.
I mean,
she's
she does
delighted.
say it's an accident, I think.
I know, it's still manslaughter though, right?
I mean, it's
still
absolutely manslaughter.
The first
100%.
killing the Witch of the East was an accident, and she looks, concerned about that. When she kills Wicked Witch of the West, she could not be happier about it.
Yeah.
No one has ever been happier about killing anyone on screen, other than straight up villains.
Okay.
And, that
skywriting isn't scary.
Fair play to the Wicked Witch of the East. She's gone a long time without getting wet. Like, I mean, how do you, when
In
you're
a world with
75%
clouds.
water
Yeah,
anyway?
In a world
Yeah.
with clouds, how do these witches stay alive? Although now it makes the witches' hats very practical.
That's true. It does. Yeah, that wide brim really serving a
That's
purpose.
the reason, everyone.
Toto ruins everything. But also, when Toto tries to save his own life, Dorothy makes sure that he dies.
See, this is I was thinking actually after so basically, Dorothy's got her dog Toto, attacks a lady's cat in Kansas, and then the lady who has the cat wants to kill Toto.
Sure.
She wants to take him to the police station, have him put down.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the impetus for why
Is that
Dorothy
really
runs
the job
away.
of the police?
Well, I don't know. But it did make me think that this could have been John Wick.
Yeah, it could have been John Wick. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it would be, a body count's not quite as high, but, it's just a start.
Yeah, but John Wick's far less happy about having to kill
That's
people
true.
than Dorothy is.
He
Dorothy
totally is.
loves it.
Yeah.
She has blood on the brain.
Yeah. But do you think that when they get back to Kansas,
Well, Mrs. Gulch
it
is
still plays
there.
out?
Yeah.
You think it'll kind
Yeah.
of...
Absolutely. Toto absolutely gets snatched back up and then killed and then put down. Toto, to his credit, tries to save his own life when he jumps out of the hyperbole.
Yes.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going back there. They want me dead.
That's true.
Wow,
Dorothy's
yeah.
on the run.
No, I've never looked at it like
He
that.
tries to
Yeah,
go on the run.
Literally on the run.
And the only place he's ever been free and happy, and there are colours, pretty good deal. No tornadoes. Oz, pretty good place for someone like Toto. Absolutely where he wants to live. Munchkin Land, they've got a lollipop guild. No cats, other than a giant cowardly one. that
Oh,
he
wait, no, there is a
completely
cat.
Bosses.
At the end,
yeah,
isn't there? There is a cat.
Oh, yeah, there is, and that's the one that he goes after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. But poor Toto does his best to stay alive, and Dorothy just thwarts him at
having
every
none of
turn. She wants that dog dead.
Okay.
This
So
is
that's...
a dark film.
It's okay,
about
yeah.
a woman about a little girl who kills twice and tries to kill her own dog.
Wow.
It's very much in the, like, Alice of Wonderland, like that kind of just
Yeah.
bonkers vein of...
It's really interesting because so
Stories.
many like children's stories
like,
are.
I mean, Chronicles of Narnia I'd put in
Yeah.
that category as well.
Yeah,
Although that was
absolutely.
religious allegories, but,
Yeah.
it's... This,
But still,
like,
they place them somewhere fantastical.
Yeah.
They remove
Yeah,
them
yeah.
from
But
their
being a
environment.
religious allegory, it also gives it a much sturdier framework to play
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
that
that's
the Wizard
true.
of Oz never
That's
had.
true.
That is true. Yeah. But it is one of those movies when you watch it as an adult, you're just kind of like, this is
There's so
just
many
weird.
Weird.
decisions being
Yeah,
made
it's
in this
weird.
film.
Well,
And-
like when we watched Beetlejuice and we were just like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that there's also that element of, like, in the modern day, just having a young girl running about,
Yeah.
just talking to any passerby she sees,
Yeah.
like, that, even within our lifetime, that level of freedom was curtailed to an extent.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
absolutely.
so, like, even that just feels a bit weird. Just
Yeah.
like,
Completely.
why would you just suddenly befriend somebody like that? Because that's not how
Even-
we're taught
Even
anymore.
Glinda says,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a good witch and she's got a
Exactly.
nice dress on and she looks all right. But
How do you know?
But how do you know? It's
Yeah.
like you've just killed someone and you know what's right and wrong and
Yeah.
that's not good.
Also-
And yet someone's like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah. We talk about the shade that Glinda the Good Witch throws at Dorothy. Where she asks Dorothy if she's a good witch or an evil witch, and then she goes, "Well, good witches are beautiful."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then there's a
Look
bit,
at me.
But then there's a bit where the Wicked Witch of the East shows up, and Glinda's just like, she's like, I thought I killed the witch, and she's like, oh, you did. That's her sister.
Yeah.
She's pissed off, and it's
like,
all your
oh my
fault.
God.
She's even
Why
worse.
would you tell me that?
Like
know.
Glinda's
She's just like really up for the,
yeah,
like the.
she's
Oh, I'm just gonna watch this. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get.
she's an
I'll,
odd character in
Yeah,
this.
it's like I'll get you out of trouble whenever.
Yeah.
Which she does by throwing
Mm-hmm.
asbestos at them, and and then it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna have fun watching this.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't she just
tell
help?
her?
Why didn't she just send her to us in
Straight
the
away.
first place?
People
Yeah.
say that Gandalf is crap, but
Right.
Glinda is
Glinda's
way
worse.
more hands off than Gandalf.
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah,
that is pretty valid. Yeah, because even Dorothy says, doesn't she, at the end, actually, why didn't you just tell me that I could use the slippers? And she's like, oh, you had to learn it on your own. And you're like,
Learn
why?
what?
What? I mean, what? Literally.
In fact, Dorothy
She just
learns the least.
Exactly,
All
she
she
learns the
wanted
least.
was for Dorothy to kill Glinda's sister.
Well, I think actually no. I think the lesson that she's making Dorothy learn is you need to shut up and respect your elders and be happy where you are.
Well, interestingly, have either of you guys seen
It was
Wicked?
No.
Okay, so the premise of that is that basically Glinda and the Wicked Witch of the West arrive at school, enemies because they're complete opposites.
Yeah.
Then they find common ground, they become best friends. The Wizard of Oz is evil, and they find out Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, won't get on board with it, so flees. But basically, everybody then says she's evil, and Glinda has to go along with the fact that she's evil, but they're actually best friends. And then Dorothy appears.
Yeah.
There's someone makes up a rumour, I can't remember who, that because it's everybody's getting in such a hype about the witch that they say that pure water can melt her, and that Dorothy finds that out in the thing. And the Scarecrow is actually
put no spoiler warning on this, by the way, for Wicked.
Yeah, sorry, please don't hate me. And basically, the Scarecrow is the Wicked Witch of the West's boyfriend, who was Glinda's fiance. So he ran off with her. And she's trying to save his life, and she casts this spell saying, "Oh, I hope no harm can ever come of you." And he turns into the Scarecrow. That's why he's the leader.
Right.
And that's why they say, well, pure water can kill her. It can't. It's her way of becoming free so that she can go and live with the Scarecrow.
So she fakes her own death.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's not actually evil.
Right.
And Glinda is kind of driving
Okay.
kind of
Right,
this force
interesting.
to sort of make that
Because
happen.
In the movie, there's supposed to be a bit of a little romance between Dorothy and the Scarecrow.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Well, Dorothy in the real life,
Yeah.
the non-dreamland
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Scarecrow.
And apparently
because they have some
there was supposed to be
correspondence.
there was supposed to be a scene after she gets back to Kansas where the Scarecrow's counterpart, whose name I can't remember, is going off to agricultural college.
Oh, interesting.
And she's kind of flirtatiously saying she's going to write to him and they're going to correspond
Right.
and
Yeah.
write back together.
Okay.
But it was
And then
cut.
they bang.
Oh,
They don't.
wow.
No, it was cut because that was deemed a bit too much.
Right.
Which you
Well,
know,
okay.
is surprising.
They've gone
Yeah.
to all this
itself.
effort to turn Dorothy into a prepubescent girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
okay,
bit hard
fair
to
enough.
undo that.
Yeah.
So now she's dating this college-aged
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
There's such an obvious difference in age. Well, there wasn't, but there's such an obvious different age between them when you
They're
look
playing
at it.
age, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that because the Wicked Witch of the West never does anything wicked.
No, she's not wicked. So the whole premise of Wicked is, are people born wicked or do they have wickedness thrust upon them?
Yeah.
This is the
Wickedness
the
thrust
quote
upon them.
from the
She never
song.
do anything wicked.
She sends out the flying monkeys and they tear
Yeah.
apart the Scarecrow. But that's about it.
But she knows she can't kill
no
him.
harm, no foul. Yeah, she knows she can't kill him.
Well, if you use the knowledge that you have
Oh, it's
from
pretty hard to
Wicked.
kill a Scarecrow.
Yeah,
I would think. Oh yeah.
sure.
Yeah, tough enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, she never does anything wicked. She cackles a lot. She's got pretty
Yeah.
bad posture. Which,
But she hasn't really done anything, you know.
think-
Some girl killed her sister.
Her physiotherapist is probably the most evil person in this story.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So is there anything else really odd about this film?
The Lollipop Guild is really creepy.
I mean, Munchkin Land is just a question mark.
It's gross.
It's very peculiar and odd, and especially watching it as an adult, it's it's not great. Okay, Adam, what still holds up? What's still good? Is anything good?
What still holds up about the Wizard of Oz? That's a tricky one.
Well, you said the two songs. You said those two songs were
Yeah, there are two
You like?
songs that will forever live on. Mm-hmm. They'll pass the test of time.
yep. I mean,
Do
80
think,
years.
do
They're
I
doing
think
all right.
they're particularly amazing songs? They're okay.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
all right. There are far better songs in musicals.
Well, interestingly, the Jitterbug, the song, is
Jitterbug.
yeah, it's in the musical, but it's not. It's not. in the
Was it
film.
written for the musical afterwards?
No, it was written for the musical, but I think it was. For the film, but it wasn't. It wasn't in it because I don't think they had enough time to have it in there, because the Wicked Witch of the West, just before she sends the flying monkeys out, she says, "Oh, I sent out a little bug to slow them down or something," to the flying monkeys, like the captain of the flying monkeys.
Yeah.
Before they go, and that's what that is.
Oh, right.
And that's like kind of, it was written in like a swing style. It was a really kind of upbeat, sort of like jazzy number, but it just didn't make it. And
It
I'm
would have
pretty
seemed
sure it was
tonally a bit weird, a jazzy number in
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz, I think.
Yeah, it is. Whereas in the stage show, it kind of
fits
works.
well.
So it's like a kind of a showstopper in the musical.
I think The Wizard of Oz himself is interesting and notable.
Yeah, we haven't
as a
really talked
character.
about him at all.
No, we haven't.
If you don't know what the reveal is going to be with The Wizard of Oz, I think that will all still sort of take you by surprise and make you smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like
good.
But if you know it's coming,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like the fact that he's one of those kind of like shyster medicine men that used to tour the West and like, you know, selling their concoctions and
Absolutely.
remedies that were just whatever.
Yeah,
he's probably a Coca-Cola salesman.
Well, exactly, Coca-Cola. Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that. I like that concept. I think that works
Okay.
well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said again, I think for me, is it still good? Is it a good film? I just can't separate the kind of the nostalgia that I have towards it.
Gotta try though.
Oh,
You gotta try. It's what we're here for.
it's just too hard. Sorry,
Oh,
I can't.
You know use.
I just think I think it holds up as a technical marvel.
Yeah, and I didn't know
beyond
that.
anything.
Yeah,
But you have to frame it as a family film.
Yes, absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It
when you
doesn't
look
hold up in
back on
any
it,
other way.
I don't hate The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
I just
brought him
don't.
round.
I don't. No, I just don't like it.
No, I know.
That's
I get
fair.
what you mean.
And I understand that. Like, I don't think I would ever sit down and think, if I had a spare couple of hours, oh, you know, I'll put on Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do that. I've got to say.
It's so kitschy and
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it until I watched it again, but I'm actually quite looking forward to watching this with my daughter. There's like a few films that I'm kind of looking forward to watching with my daughter, and this has kind of become one because I've just be curious as to what she would
What she
make
makes
of it
yeah.
with her,
And
because
actually,
like
I'm the same with my niece, yeah.
her life experience is so different to mine when I was growing up and
Yeah.
my mum's because you know.
Yeah. And so far removed from Dorothy as well.
Exactly,
from
yeah.
anything that is kind of familiar.
Yeah, so I'd
you
love
know.
to just watch to see what she finds weird and what she
Yeah.
finds scary and what she
yeah.
likes
And what she laughs at.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's fascinating
Mm-hmm.
because I've never got to see it being watched by someone of the target audience before.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where the magic is, because you know, with like Roger Rabbit, when we talked about
Yeah.
that, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's kind of an adult's film as well as a child's
Yeah.
film, whereas this I just don't think is at all.
No.
there's very little here for adults
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah,
No.
but I think it would be incredible to watch a child watch that film, like
Yeah.
sit with my niece and kind of watch her, like you say, like be scared of certain
Yeah.
bits and then laugh and sing along because,
Yeah.
like, you know, she loves Disney films and. So I think from that point of view, but I don't think if you take it away from being a child's film and away from being the technical kind of achievement that it was, I
Yeah.
don't think there's much else going on there.
No.
Oh, and the music, to be fair, I do rate, it's particularly those two songs.
Yeah. Well, it won Best Song and Best Score for
It did,
the
yeah,
Oscars.
best of all. And I like the music for the villain as well.
Oh, the dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of iconic.
Yeah, like you hear it and you instantly, kind of like
Got a
Jaws.
William Tell
Yeah.
overture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it does, that does work really well, that piece of music, because as soon as you hear like the first
Yeah.
element of it, the first
know it's
note of
coming.
it, you
Yeah.
know
Absolutely.
what's coming.
Mhm.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
like you say, like Jaws. As
Yeah.
soon as you hear that first,
Yeah. It's very clever. And again, it's not a complex piece of music.
no,
Can we all agree that Toto dies?
I mean, yeah, in theory, I guess that's kind of what would happen. But then maybe on because you know she says, "Oh, I've always wanted to say what I thought of you,
that's
but because
yeah.
I'm a Catholic woman, I still won't." And then
Yeah,
storms off. And you're like, okay.
Impotent line of the century.
But then maybe because they were waiting for Dorothy to wake up and they were worried about her, and
Yeah.
maybe they're gonna put their foot down and say, no, we're not gonna
They let that dog die.
let you kill the dog.
It is a surefire way to get an audience on your side.
Yeah.
Threaten the life of
Easy.
the dog.
Yeah.
It's,
Easy.
Yeah.
tried and
Everybody
tested.
does love it.
John
I've
Wick
got, do
3
you know what?
coming to cinemas soon.
That when I was in the show, every single night the dog got the biggest round of applause.
Of course it would, yeah.
Absolutely, like every time.
Yeah. It was like we were talking about before the show that Toto got a bigger paycheck than the Munchkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
By
not cool,
a
is it?
significant.
That's
They were
just-
on
it's just
50.
Not okay.
They were on
Munchkins were on
$50.
£50
$50 a week.
$50 a week.
Toto was on 125.
That's awful.
It's insane.
Congratulations on
I mean,
being paid that
it's
much.
the dog-
to be fair,
not
It's the
poo on
skill of the
set.
dog handler.
Yes, that's true.
And that is
How much does the dog handler get paid?
It's one of those things. To be fair though, he's the catalyst
yeah, he is
of the film.
the whole story.
You know,
the plot's driven.
he's there a lot. Mm-hmm. Even when he doesn't need to be, he's kind of getting in the back of
Absolutely.
shots.
Shame he's a
and just
dream
like-
for most of it, as in everything.
So I think we've kind of chatted quite a bit about this. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to say about The Wizard of Oz? Apart from the fact we're all going to be humming
Oh, I'm not.
different bits of the song.
I'm not.
Okay.
Oh, he totally
You're
is.
boycotting it.
I'm not.
You are.
There's
Yeah.
no way.
We're gonna catch it later.
Yeah, we are.
We will. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll let you know next week.
It's not going to happen. The Wizard of Oz is
Only okay.
only okay. 5 out of 10.
So next week we are going to be talking about The Mummy.
Yes.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. Hopefully it holds up and we're equally as excited about talking about it
Brendan
after we
Fraser.
watched it.
How could it not hold up?
I know. I mean, come
what
on.
about that man would not hold up?
Let's come back to that next week.
I just can't believe we're already on our second Egyptology movie.
Oh yeah, I can't
Sign of the
believe
times.
I was
Sign
in
of the
for that.
times.
Yeah.
Egyptology was
upsetting.
big.
In
Didn't
the
I say in
90s.
Stargate
Yeah, that's true,
Egyptology
yeah.
was big? And
Loved
everyone's
that
like,
film.
no, it's probably just a school. Egyptology was big.
Yeah, I did an art project on Egyptology. Like, I think I wrote about the mummy
Right.
in.
So you're the
part of
expert
it.
next week then.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm gonna get on the hieroglyphs. No, I'd be terrible.
Talk about Rachel Weisz's eyebrows. For
Yes.
a good 20 minutes.
We can talk about
Right.
that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
being
Just for you,
discussed.
Tom. It's a weak game.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Mummy Returns, however,
Oh, on fleek.
strong game. Yeah, strong brows. So this
Ahead of their time, really.
Really. Oh, is this a new segment, Brow Watch?
Brow Watch.
Yes, Brow Watch. Thanks for listening. You're going to hear from us next week, like I said, talking about the mummy. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was recorded in the Upbeat Studio in Soho. For studio inquiries, drop us an email on studio@upbeatproductions.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Head to @upbeatprod to see what we're up to, and @upbeat_ents for our film coverage and entertainment news.